Hear me?
We've had a request to see Eric's Pogs.
Yeah, I brought all my Pogs home because I've got a project I'm going to be doing with them.
Yep.
But I did give Nick one.
Yep.
One because he asked for it, and two because I had an extra.
See, and here's the thing. I didn't know that he had an extra.
Yeah.
I just thought he was being generous, but
Yeah.
he was like, I didn't need it anyway. So it just kind of...
Yeah, it was a duplicate.
Boy, I'll tell you what, too, and I don't know if you remember this, but Skybox was the way to Pog. It was the only way to Pog.
Yeah. So this has Robin and Azrael.
It was Azrael? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robin like cutting Azrael's hair.
Sure.
And it says Batman's proteges. I feel like this is that sort of like making fun of... It's like, here they are.
Yeah. Well, that's
Batman's protege.
that was Tim Drake and everything. Was that okay, so that Pog you have right now, because you told me you had your show Pogs.
Show Pogs.
And your play Pogs.
Play Pogs.
Where would that have gone?
With Robin cutting somebody's hair?
Well, it's okay, but put yourself in 1995.
No, I wouldn't have liked it in 95 either.
Okay. Well, I'm saying, like, would you have cared that it's Azrael and Tim Drake?
I mean, I was curious about that, but I didn't really know anything about it. I hadn't read Nightfall.
Oh, okay.
Just going to close the window.
Where are you going again? Oh, wait, you told me, but I asked my question anyways. That's pretty fun. Ah!
Okay.
Yeah, so I got to get home, and what are you doing now?
Nothing.
I got all those Pogs. Basically, I'm going to do a Pog thing. I got a Pog project I'm doing. I bought a wig. I bought a bandana.
Oh, my gosh.
I bought 300 Pogs total. At first, I bought 200 Pogs.
Wow.
But you saw the 200 Pogs.
Oh, that yeah.
Very Baywatch heavy.
Terrible.
There's some good stuff in there. There's a pretty cool Millhouse podcast, Pog.
You said podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then I went on eBay again, and I found somebody who was selling another 100, and this was segmented. So it was like 20 Star Wars Pogs, 20 Power Ranger Pogs, 20 DC Pogs. So I had to get them.
VR Troopers?
No, I didn't see any VR Troopers.
Okay.
So, and I didn't get like an X-Men specific one, but I got a good amount of X-Men Pogs in there. The Spider-Man one's cool. There's some Venom and Lizard.
X-Men Pogs go where they want to go. That's the thing.
Yeah. All right. Let's start with the podcast.
Okay.
Podcast.
Episode 188.
Yeah. Is that what I put? Yeah, that's what I put.
Okay.
Get off my back.
Sorry.
All right, here we go. Welcome to episode 188 of the... Okay.
Just trying something new?
Yeah, I'll start over. Welcome to episode 188 of the All the Books Show, recorded at the David A. Howe Public Library, where we talk book news, author news, and literary news. I'm Eric Mickles.
And I'm Nick Gunning, and I want to thank you for doing a retake of the intro, because the first time out, I don't know what was going on.
I was trying to do like a wacky...
Like a goofy voice. It's the Zoo Crew kind of voice.
Yeah,
I didn't like it. I didn't like
Yeah.
it. But here we are.
you listeners by the bay.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Here we are in episode 188.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Elo is not here. So
No, not this week.
if you thought this was an Elizabeth Elo podcast,
You gotta
it's
go back.
not.
Yeah.
But
You can listen to the 2 episodes where we interview her.
two
and it will be
episodes
like that.
with her,
And
and then I
repeat
talk
it.
about her books quite a lot.
Yeah.
So, and I got a new one to read, so
So,
forget about it.
yeah.
All right.
What?
Well,
All right. Week start.
Here
Week
we are.
start, I'm going to say.
No.
Okay.
I feel good. I feel
No.
energized. I feel
All right.
energized.
We'll get there.
And today, we are going to be talking about some sexy new books, folks. And what that means is we see a lot of books coming in here. You know, we're ordering a lot of books. We're seeing them come in. We're anticipating new books. They finally hit the shelves. And there's a couple that we're excited about that we want to share with you. See if you want to read them. See if we want to read them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a real curveball. I think this looks great, and I start reading it, and I think, well, that's bad. That's not a
You
good.
can correct me.
I would love to, yeah. Go ahead.
But I feel like in the past, on average, I tend to be more positive about the sexy new books I bring than you end up being about the books you bring.
Yeah.
And you about the books I bring. So maybe
Fair.
that's where the average is.
Fair.
Because I usually am like, yeah, these are okay, the ones I bring.
Yeah.
But then, so I have 3 books I kind of like.
Yeah.
But then you have 6 books you kind of don't like. So.
Look, I think that's too much.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
No, but we found some good stuff.
We have.
Yeah.
I've read some of them. You've read
I've read
some of
some,
them.
yeah.
Others,
Have read some
we're
of them.
presuming,
Yeah.
have read others.
Yeah.
But, so today, anyway, we're going to talk about sexy new books a little later. Let's dive in with what we've been reading. Open the old bookmark.
All right.
Do we have bookmark music yet?
We're diving in into the bookmark.
Diving in.
We're opening the bookmark and we're diving
in.
Okay.
Yeah. You got it. So just put that. If somebody could auto-tune that and put like a slow jam behind what Eric just said, we would really appreciate that.
All right. So you want a bookmark music because Ben Lehman never gave us any.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No,
all
he
right,
didn't.
So.
Yep. So we need to just solicit it.
Hey, Eric, what have you been reading? Gonna share it.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Hey, guys.
I thought the second thing you said was "Hey, Rick," and I didn't know. Like if maybe like Rick Dodd from the maintenance crew is going to join us on the podcast,
Yeah.
which I'd be all for.
All right, sure.
All right. Bookmark. So let me tell you what I've been reading. You like that? Or you want to go first?
Oh.
You doing great.
No, sorry. I just realized on the title card I wrote sexy news books.
Huh.
So
So they're just all about the news.
yeah, it's books.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Books du jour. Let's start with your bookmark. Let me hear what you got.
Yeah, I just got it. All right. What have I been reading?
I would love to know. You've been on a novel drought. Fingers crossed. I'm rooting for you.
Hey, you can't say that.
What do you got?
You can't say that.
What?
All
Yes,
right.
I
So what have I finished book-wise? I finished. I almost said Adolf Huxley, but that's not right. Isaac Asimov's The Caves of Steel.
Yes.
So usually you want to find a good diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
Throughout the city. Usually you should be looking for like a street urchin, a street rat kind of person.
Yeah, a street rat.
Any kind of pet. It shows that he's a little altruistic. He's not just thinking about himself.
Right.
You sent him into the Caves of Steel.
Yeah.
He'll bring you back what you most desire, and then you give him his reward.
His eternal reward.
Eternal reward.
All right. That's misleading because the plot of Caves of Steel has nothing to do with Aladdin and has everything to do with grown men talking to each other.
That's yeah.
So
So it is different. Than,
it's a little different.
Aladdin.
It's a little different.
Yeah, I read Caves of Steel. Nick read Caves of Steel.
I also listened to a fun audio drama of Caves of Steel.
Did you
from
like the
70s.
drama more than the book?
It was about the same.
Oh, okay.
The audio drama moved a little quicker, obviously. It condensed the story some in good ways, I thought.
Goodreads doesn't let you give half stars, but if
Yeah.
it did, I would have given this 3.5 stars because for a little bit I was like, oh, this is a 4-star book.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't.
So this is the first of Isaac Asimov's robot books, in case
Yeah.
you're curious. We're doing this for our Page Turner Sci-Fi Book Club. It's the first pick. After this, we're doing Andy Weir's Artemis. I'm looking forward to that, despite the mixed reviews.
Yeah.
But Caves of Steel is the first robot book.
Yeah, it's a detective story.
I think, if I were going to like boil it down to a sentence or two, I would probably say cool ideas, poor execution.
I had said interesting. What did I say? I said like interesting story interesting story, but like it's a poor detective story.
Well, I think it's just. I mean, you've made the point in the past that there's a word count to consider,
Yes.
and I feel like what we really read was a novella that was spread
Stretched
out
yeah.
to be because it's just not enough to keep it going.
I don't read mysteries,
Uh huh.
and I don't know if this was the intent, but like I knew who did it,
Mm-hmm.
like from the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
like the first chapter.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that makes me like a detective or anything, but that's what I think the mystery story was.
Yeah.
I think he's a good sci-fi writer, and he wanted to show people sci-fi could be other genres, but maybe he should have co-written with the detective
I really
writer.
think the problem with the mystery element of it is that sorry, he wasn't very deft about putting the clues in. So like there's one character who has a really unique feature about him. Here is that feature.
Yeah.
Here's what the feature is.
The other
And so
thing
then
is,
it's like, okay, so we'll pay
if
attention to
you're-
that guy.
if you're doing this on a however long basis, if you're doing this like every month,
Yeah.
you're probably going to have to like hint at the actual killer every month. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So you have to like remind people of the
Yeah.
clues, and if like something's just already pretty obvious and you're reading it all in one, it's gonna but I still liked a lot of stuff. It's interesting reading stuff like this. I had the same thing reading The Demolished Man. I think I got that title right. It's just like
Is this Asimov?
No, this Demolished Man is Alfred Bester.
Oh, okay.
Different books, or older sci-fi books where maybe the sci-fi isn't as exciting, but it's a type of sci-fi that's like its own genre now, like 50s sci-fi basically. But like the core of the books are still interesting, like the drama and everything is still like well told. But like as a sci-fi book now, it kind of it's its own thing.
Doesn't quite. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I still enjoyed it. I liked it. It's probably my favorite Asimov book I've read so far.
I've read a collection called Bicentennial Man that's short stories, and I thought that was really strong.
Yeah. I've read the first 3 Foundation books.
Wow.
And I, Robot the Collection.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so
this was the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I liked it. Because the movie I, Robot isn't really an adaptation of the I, Robot collection.
Right.
It feels a lot more like
I agree.
an adaptation of this book.
Yeah, I
Caves
think
of
a
Steel.
lot was borrowed from Caves of
So
Steel.
if somebody was like,
absolutely.
"Hey, I saw I, Robot. What's an Isaac Asimov book I should read?" I'd probably give him this then first.
Caves of Steel. Yeah, it makes sense.
And yeah, I think what's good about Caves of Steel, and I shouldn't say too much because we're doing the book club soon today, but what I think is good about Caves of Steel is the central premise of a human detective being partnered with a robot detective is just, it's strong.
Yeah, it's good.
And it's like, didn't they just do something like that on Fox like a few years ago?
Yeah.
Human to human, almost human or something.
I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
But I think that concept is strong enough that like
that's what I mean. That, like so many of the principles and the things that like the ingredients to make the book are so strong.
Yeah.
And then it's just the execution that lets it down a little bit.
Yeah. It's always rough too reading a sci-fi book from the 40s or 50s where they're like, this is science. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Hold on to your hats. I got some news for you.
A rotary phone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Even just like this, like science of like, this is how much food a person needs. Or this is how far. It's just like, that's no. But
yeah.
What are you gonna do? It is crazy sometimes reading something like this where they're like space travel and all this, and like their concept of space was still the sky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's interesting. Like, oh wait, we haven't landed on the moon yet.
Right.
We haven't put anybody in orbit.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you always have to kind of like, oh yeah, we still.
Yeah. No idea.
Yeah.
There's no idea what it's gonna be like.
Yeah. All right. So that's the novel I read. Oh, No, wait. I'm talking about what I finished. I've read Mr. Miracle by Tom King. This is a 12-issue graphic novel of the character Mr. Miracle.
Oh, right. Yeah, this is making there's a lot of buzz on this.
A lot of buzz. The art is very specific. It's very stylized. It uses like the traditional kind of maybe like 12 boxes per page.
Yeah.
So very square.
Yeah.
Box layout and everything for the art. And it's interesting, and I kind of see what he's going for, but I've said this with the Batman series. Tom King is a weird, slightly amateurish writer who's gotten a lot of praise, and it's kind of...
If you're looking to me to say something positive, I'm not going to.
I guess people like the ambition in the concepts and the ideas, but when you actually sit down and read his dialogue, it's rough stuff. There's a scene, there's an issue where Mr. Miracle and his wife, Big Barda, are going to are invading Apocalypse, their planet of Darkseid, which is just nonsense to some people, but whatever. And they're talking about remodeling their house, and it's all boiling down to Big Barda telling him that she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
But like the whole conversation is just, it's very repetitive.
Yeah.
He's like, we take apart the closet. He's like, but I like the closet. Well, we got to remove the closet. But where's my closet? Well, we're going to give you a new closet in a different space. But I like the closet. We're going to move the closet. And it's just, it goes on like that. And you can kind of see he's trying to do that, like, that balance of like, look, they're talking about the mundane while dealing with something ridiculous. But it doesn't work the way he wants.
Well,
it's not funny or interesting in the way. And after a while, it's like, oh, gosh, stop talking about this.
Well, he wrote a lot of the Grayson collection, the Dick Grayson story. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, well, it kind of goes back to what we were saying about the Asimov book. It's like the concept, the ideas are good, but it doesn't mean that you're the right person to take it home.
The idea of basically Mr. Miracle is that he's an escape artist. He's the only person to ever have escaped Darkseid's hell pits. But on Earth, he's just trying to live his life with his wife, Big Barda, but he deals with depression, and it opens with him trying to commit suicide and being rushed to the hospital and everything. And so it deals with like him dealing with that depression and just dealing with life, but it never really connects. Like there were some moments where I'm like, yes, that is what having depression is like.
Yeah.
But it never seems to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's saying, yeah, you have a kid, that will help you solve your depression. If your devil father asks for the kid to stop a war, don't give it to him. So like, it's just.
That sounds a little superficial then. About dealing with it.
That's the thing. It's dealing with stuff, but the same thing with the Batman stuff.
Yeah.
It comes across superficial.
Okay.
But again, this has maybe other people will. I'd be interested to give this to somebody who doesn't care about comic books, because I wonder, because this thing has won so many awards.
Yeah. It's
gotten so much praise. If I gave this to somebody who doesn't know about comics, would they be like, oh, this is fun?
Well, they have the chance because we have it here in our collection.
But yes, it has gotten a lot of awards, and I think it won the Eisner.
I think it
something.
did. A lot of buzz.
I can't tell if there's going to be like a sequel. It's very self-contained, and I thought it wasn't until I got to the end. I'm like, oh, this is like an alternative universe kind of thing. But I don't know. Anyway, I've been reading a lot of back to more comic stuff. I've been reading a lot of X-23. Why are you laughing?
I don't know. It's funny.
I've been reading a lot of X-23. She's now the...
I think I was laughing because you said back to comic stuff, but you've almost exclusively been talking about comic stuff.
X-23 right now is my marathoning title, I guess. I just did with G.I. Joe for a while. So I started reading. There was this book series. There was this comic series that came out.
I'm sorry. Before you go on, after all that stuff you said about his weak writing, Mr. Miracle won the Eisner Award for best writing.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't know. I don't know what people are looking for.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Go on.
That's all right.
I just thought it was funny.
With my Marvel Unlimited app, there's a lot of stuff on there, and there's this series called NYX, which came out in 2003, and it got a lot of buzz. But it also was delayed. So issue 3 has 6 months between issue 4. And then it's another 6 months. And so you can tell when you read that. I read that because that was the first comic appearance of X-23, Lara, who some people will probably only know from Logan. She's Wolverine's clone. NYX, I read. It's terrible. But then I read her first 2 miniseries by Chris Yost. Chris Yost? That sounds right. Who created her on the show X-Men Evolution and everything. Anyway, those miniseries were very good. And then she has an ongoing series after that by, I get it wrong. Shoot, I can't get the right.
Talking about All New Wolverine?
No. This is just her series X-23. It starts with an M. She's written other stuff. Anyway, it's good stuff. I like the character. She talks in complete sentences, kind of like Data. She's like, I do not know what I have to do here. So she doesn't abbreviate things.
I see.
Because she's been programmed to kill, and it's nice because, for those who don't know, Wolverine has a son in the comics who is the worst, and I hate him, and I hate every time he shows up. But Lara is an actual, and he's not really a character. He's just a bad guy. But Lara's a character. She's been programmed to kill and all this stuff, and she's still very far from ever being normal, if that's even possible. So it's just interesting reading about her trying to have a normal life while also still having adamantium claws. So. And, being she's way more trained to kill than Wolverine.
Okay.
So.
And we do have some of her solo series here in the collection. So
yeah, we have.
Curious, you can check that out.
After the death of Wolverine's storyline, she became the all-new Wolverine. So we have that whole run here. Her solo series, just X-23 is called, is interesting because the writer teams her up with Gambit.
Oh.
And writes a good Gambit, but at the same time, it's a Gambit that's very perfect. He's still a cad and sneaky,
right,
and a thief and everything, but he's also just somebody's beautiful interpretation of Gambit.
Right.
So if you're a Gambit fan, you'll probably like this this X-23 series. Because but the pairing of them is interesting, especially because him and Wolverine tend not to really get along.
Right.
So it's interesting that Gambit's now babysitting his clone.
Kind of, yeah.
But yeah, I've been enjoying that series. There's some stuff to read. I should edit all this out. I started reading Rogue Protocol.
Yes, please.
Martha Wells' Rogue Protocol. This is book 3 of the Murderbot Diaries.
Okay. Great. You liking it so far?
Yeah, I'm not that far.
Okay.
We're interviewing.
Yeah, we're going to be talking to Martha Wells in a couple of weeks.
So that will be fun. We're going to talk to her about the Murderbot Diaries, writing novellas versus novels and series and all that. So
yeah, we've got a few fun interviews lined up for the next couple of weeks, so pay attention on that. I feel like I had kind of a light schedule.
I'll wait till you're done with yours and we can talk about this.
I feel like I had kind of a light schedule this past week, but I did read Shazam: The New Beginning from 1987. This is a 4-volume retelling of the Shazam story. Everybody has Shazam fever with the new movie coming out. So this was one of the times
everybody has Shazam fever.
This was one of the times that I was able to really use my DC Universe app to read something helpful.
Hey.
And I read Shazam: The New Beginnings by Roy Thomas, which I actually really liked. I thought it was a pretty good retelling of the novelization or the origin. And I would have followed that series, but I only had the 4.
I feel like all I read of Shazam is origin stuff.
Yeah. That's true. There's a pretty long running series called Trial of Shazam, and I read that the miniseries that kicked it off years back, and I didn't really care for it, so I never followed it.
Okay.
So I read that. I read a couple of Martha Wells things myself. I read The Future of Work Compulsory, which is the short story prequel to the Murderbot books.
Oh, okay.
I read All Systems Red, the first in the Murderbot series. So if you're not familiar with these, Murderbot is basically, would you say an android?
Yeah.
Who has self-control, but people don't know she has self-control. So she's kind of doing her own thing.
She?
You don't think it's a she?
Oh, no, oh, interesting.
Do you? I guess they never really say.
I think they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I totally
Maybe they
read it.
don't.
I totally read it as a she. Well, now we got to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
And if we can't, we'll just ask Martha Wells in a
All
couple
right.
of weeks.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's a cool story. It's an interesting take on some things you've seen before, but a totally fresh angle. So I was impressed with it. I really like I thought the dialogue was witty and very crisp, and it was not what I expected in a good way. So I like that. And then for my little off the books book club with my pals,
Joss Whedon-y at times.
yeah, but less precious, I think, than Joss Whedon tends to be. Contamination by John Vornhold, a Star Trek Next Gen novel that I'm reading for a sci-fi book club outside of the library, and it was good. This was coincidentally another sci-fi murder mystery, so I didn't really mean to read
Trek
that
one?
many. Yeah, it is. It's all on the ship. There's just a murder, and they have to figure it out.
I like this.
So I really liked it.
I like this vigilante-like suit this guy's
Well,
wearing.
it's contamination. It's about like an infectious disease thing.
Oh,
So he's
okay.
wearing like a... Anyway, that was it for me. I enjoyed all of those. I'm currently reading The Chef by James Patterson and Max
Yeah.
Solalo, which is pretty good. It's fun. It's what I mean. It's all like light stuff that I'm reading right now, but still, I like this. I've been enjoying it. And then I also am currently reading Shazam. Showcase Presents Shazam, which is all the 70s when Shazam finally was like you were allowed to use that character again. This is the collection of the first, say, 30 or so issues, a lot written by Denny O'Neil, a lot written by Elliot S. Magan, who we're going to be talking to in the coming weeks. So pretty excited about that. And this is a fun journey back for me because when I was a kid, it was always like the long boxes and flipping through the 3 for $1, 3 for a quarter bins. So I read a lot of like 80s Superman and Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very familiar to me, and it's been fun to revisit. So that's it.
These black and white, this collection?
They are, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Some of them I still have in the original, but...
Nick and I saw an early, 2 weeks early screening of Shazam.
We did. Do you want to get into that now? Because I thought maybe we'd talk about in detail next week when we're doing a whole Shazam spot.
Okay. Well, 3 stars. 3 out of 5 stars from me.
Interesting.
What'd you give it? 2 out of 5?
I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I mean, there were things that I liked about it,
Mm-hmm.
and things that I wish they would have, like,
Yeah.
here's an interesting thing that you're doing. Why don't you expand on that? But no, that's how ghost people bite people's heads off.
I'll say it's rough when your movie is strongest when you have an actor who actually can't be on screen for half the movie.
Yeah.
So depending, I don't know, your mileage on Zachary Levi probably varies, but I think the movie's better when he's on screen. But he
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But
okay.
I think it's the type of movie I want to watch. And then when it's just like the kids, I'm like, oh geez. So I didn't love the kid who played Billy, but he was fine.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Oh
so,
yeah, we are gonna have to talk about this
Yeah.
more next week because
so
now I'm curious. But
I definitely think that's a hint. Well, it's kind of like if in Big he kept changing back to the kids, you'd be like,
Right.
all right, can we get back to Tom
where's
Hanks?
Tom Hanks? Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it's rough, and it's a different problem than when it's like the Hulk.
Yeah.
because you just want to see the Hulk.
Right.
I don't know. It's
That's what I kind of liked about the Ed Norton Hulk is that you got a lot of banner, which I liked.
but
But we should unpack this next week when we talk Shazam.
all right.
All right. Let's do New York Times bestseller list.
Well, that was fast.
What's coming up? Was it?
Welcome to the New York Times.
Doesn't feel fast at all.
Let's see what the Times have done
Okay.
for New York, because we don't have a song
Yeah, you're
for
right.
that one. I thought you wanted songs.
I do. I like it. Yeah.
All right, New York Times bestsellers list for hardcover fiction. Not a lot of movement here. It seems like there used to be, and now there's nothing.
Right.
Now everything just stays the same, like an old porch.
Man, that was stupid.
You're stupid.
That was so stupid.
No, like an old porch. It just sits. Nobody ever paints it.
Well,
just sits
you
there.
should. I mean, you
Yeah.
should maintain
Well,
your
no,
property.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that old porch. I'm gonna work on it one of these days.
This is a lost metaphor. You're not going to be able to fix it.
All right, like the old porch.
Okay.
Can't fix it.
You can. It's fine.
I'm just not gonna do it. Look, number 10 is The Border by Don Winslow, the third book in the Power of the Dog series. Art Keller fights to keep drugs out of the country, and it has taken a complicated turn.
Okay.
what's his name again? Art. Yeah. Art, you got to keep drugs out of the country. I'm doing it. Oh, no. They're in the country.
Yeah. In the
What a
country.
complicated turn this was.
Yeah.
My name's Art. Look, you're giving me nothing today, so don't be surprised.
You're
that
giving
I'm
me so
drowning.
much. You're giving me so much.
All right.
I want less. We all want less.
Number 9, the island of the sea women. Oh no, it's just the island of sea women, not the
sea women,
Yeah.
not specific. Those sea women, just sea women.
Just sea women in general.
Yeah. This is on my list. I got to hold on it. This is the Barnes and Noble Book
This is
Club
by.
pick.
Get this. It's the island of sea women.
Uh-huh.
It's by Lisa C.
I mean,
Yeah, they're spelled differently.
Well,
I'm not going to tell you who's spelled S-E-E. It's
You have
Lisa.
to find out for
Lisa
yourself?
C is spelled S-E-E.
oh,
Their friendship over many decades of 2 female divers from the Korean islands of Jeju is pushed to a breaking point.
huh.
What?
That's an interesting premise for a book.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound
Unusual.
like a fun fantasy novel about like
Sea women.
yeah.
Sea women? No, I
Yeah.
don't think it is.
All right.
I don't think it is.
Number 9 is The Last Romantics by Tara
Yeah, I like this.
Conklin.
Yeah,
A family crisis tests the bonds and ideals of a renowned poet and her siblings. This
Mhm.
is what you read.
I did.
This is the semi-future one.
Yeah, well, the frame story is set in the future, and that's
Yeah.
not really a part of it.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting layer.
So there's never a part she's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm late. My flying car was out of petroleum."
It is kind of like that at times, yeah. But it doesn't really
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of leaves you to interpret why that
okay.
is and how that affects what you're reading. That's largely in our modern times, current
Okay.
times, contemporary times.
All right. Well, number 7 is the book you're reading, The Chef.
Yeah.
By James Patterson with Max DeLelio.
Yep.
Caleb Rooney, a police detective and celebrity food truck chef, must clear his name of murder allegations. Have you gotten to that yet?
No.
What? Really?
Yeah.
How long have you been reading this?
I'm halfway through it.
And he hasn't had to start clearing his
Well,
name?
here's the thing. This is it starts that he's involved in a shooting, and there's an inquest to find out if it was a justified homicide. But
Right.
it seems like it is.
But it's more about meatball subs.
Well, yeah, it's like the very first. It's like the epilogue. He quits the police force. And
Right.
he's not in the police.
Prologue.
And he's just yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's just hanging out in his food truck, and it's fun. And then the cop stuff comes in, and I'm like, can't we just
Get back to the food
talk
truck.
about the food truck? That's kind of what I want.
Maybe you should watch the Jon Favreau film Chef.
Maybe I
With
should.
Sofia Vergara.
Maybe I should. And that's where everything is CGI except Mowgli.
No.
Oh.
That's The Lion King.
Oh, Jungle Book.
I know what it is.
It was Jungle Book. You
Yeah.
didn't know. You got it
No.
wrong.
I picked The Lion King because there's no character called Mowgli in The Lion King. There's no people.
I think.
Do you think his Lion King, there's going to be people to show? Is like, huh,
Yeah.
a lot of crazy things
Yeah.
happening here in Pride
Are those
Lands.
animals talking?
Who's singing in the background? Is that Elton John?
You know, Hakuna Matata is not a word.
Number 6. Actually, I think it's a traditional phrase, and Disney is trying to copyright it for themselves.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they own everything else, so
yeah,
why not?
they're the worst now.
Yeah.
And I'm put that on record. Come and
Absolutely.
capture me, Disney. Go put me in
Absolutely.
your Disney jail. But
Yeah.
I disagree with you.
Yeah.
Silent Night by Danielle Steele. Which
Huh.
is now what I'm going to.
Christmassy title.
Yeah, well, let's see if it's Christmassy.
Disney's going to pull you into the Silent Night
Yeah.
because of your dissension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After tragedy strikes.
Keep talking, Stretch.
Oh, jeez.
Talking yourself into an early grave.
Okay. You think you're going to be okay? I guess they're going to be like, well, he did respect Mickey's
Yeah,
authority.
that's true. Yeah.
He understood that
Yeah.
Mickey was to be beloved
Yeah,
and
I
feared.
understand that Mickey's the enforcer.
Yeah. Okay. Get him, Goofy.
That was
All right.
Eric. I just want to make sure my solid impression was. Anyway, go ahead.
Silent Night by Danielle Steele. After tragedy strikes, a child TV star loses her memory and ability to speak.
All right, this is one of the They Can't Speak books.
Right. Sure.
There was a bunch of them on the
Yeah.
bestseller list.
It's more important if the book speaks to you.
Hey, you know what? You're right.
I thought you were going to be like, that was stupid.
No.
Oh.
No, I learned something today.
Number 5, The Silent Patient, which is different than The Silent
That's
Night.
but that's the other one where the person can't speak.
Well, let's see. Theo Faber looks into the mystery of a famous painter who stops speaking after shooting her husband.
Two.
So, yeah.
That's why it says one of the
Yeah.
can't speak
Do you
novels.
think she stops speaking or she just pleads the 5th?
Hmm.
So, did you shoot your husband? Did you shoot your husband? Who shot your husband?
And she does that lip zipper thing, throws away the key. They're like, the defense rests.
Number 4, Daisy Jones and the Six.
Pew pew.
This has gone down the list.
Hey everyone, I
By Taylor
tried to
Jenkins
get
Reid.
this author on the podcast and was not successful.
Yeah, she's
So,
probably busy.
We'll try again later.
A
This
fictional
is a great read, everyone.
a fictional oral history charting the rise and fall of a 70s rock and roll band. So Nick's telling you guys to read this, but nobody's doing it because it went down to number 4. So you guys gotta
Read
get
it.
back up. Do it. All right. Number 3, Greg Isles has a new book. Is it Isles?
Yeah.
Isles of
This is
Dog?
another one he's very popular here.
Yeah.
I picked up his books a couple of times and I've just never read one, so maybe I got to do it.
Well, maybe you should take it on a journey to Cemetery Road.
I can't because I can't speak anymore.
Greg, I'm
Just kidding.
The journalist Marshall McEwen returns to his hometown, which is shaken by 2 deaths and an economy on the brink.
Wow.
Yeah, what if it's such a small town, those 2 deaths have just plunged the economy? Like,
Some-
oh, great.
Somebody's out there repainting the sign. Population 174.
That's dark.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Mr. Haney from Green Acres.
Yeah.
He's doing it, so that's fine.
Number 2 is new this week. It's the only new book this week.
Ooh.
Sorry. Oh. All right, Nick just turned into an old Disney character from the
Wow.
40s. From the Apple Dumpling Gang,
Number
maybe?
2.
Wolf Pack by C.J. Box.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. People love the
Oh.
CJ box. I've only read one.
Yeah.
But
The Wyoming Game Wardens,
That's
Joe
him.
Pickett and Caitlin Ham, take
he's
on...
got a little friend now?
Yep,
Caitlin Ham.
Caitlin Ham.
Ham.
Ham with 2 M's.
Ooh. Any
Uh,
relation to John Ham?
Maybe.
Who would have been my pick to play Captain Marvel? Because it's funnier when you have somebody who's like a serious person doing goofy things. When you have like
What is the last serious role
when you
John
have,
Hamm
I know,
played?
but when you have like a Zachary Levi where all he does is like, "Ooh, I tripped," it's not funny to have him just do that thing. It's a juxtaposition. But anyway, you were saying about John Hamm and C.J. Boggs going on an adventure.
Joe Pickett and Caitlin Ham
Thank you.
take on killers working for the Sonola cartel.
Okay.
I am unfamiliar with this cartel.
You know, normally you're so up on the cartels, the
normally.
active cartels, but
Yeah.
this time you're not sure.
All right, let's talk about... I want to talk about where book number 1 on this
Okay.
list in depth.
I want to as well.
Because I don't think we've given it the attention it deserves.
Now's the time.
Where the Crawdads Sing
I know.
by Dahlia Owens. A woman who survived alone in the marsh becomes a murder suspect. But she stays silent because the murder suspect is her husband who shot her dog
Yeah.
in...
The dog was the artist.
The dog was the artist.
can't.
He was one of the only famous art dogs.
Huh.
Yeah. A
Really?
dog named Art.
Yeah. Come here, Art. That's a
Yeah.
great name.
All right. Yeah, I'd read a dog named Art.
Yeah, I would. That's actually a very good title, and I would like
you.
to copyright that. But Disney already got it. Darn
Ah.
it. Darn it. House of Mouse.
You just cursed House of Mouse like it was a god in heaven.
I don't want
who-
that on tape. I did not curse the House of Mouse. I did not. All right.
Irony's a thin line,
Oh,
bucko.
no. All right. Yeah. So where the Crawdads Sing. It's popular.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying.
We
Good
know
for them.
where the Crawdads sing.
Yeah,
I want
the
to
marsh.
know what the Crawdads sing at this
A lot of
point.
CCR.
Okay,
There's a
yeah,
lot
you
of
think,
CCR.
yeah.
Yep, absolutely, I do.
I see a better mook. Shut up, Crawdads.
Yeah.
Trying to sleep.
Yeah, well, that's where they sing. So, sleep elsewhere in a Disney resort. No, I'm sorry.
happening?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think we need a little music to break this up. So hit it.
Okay, here we go.
No,
We're
we do-
gonna
we-
talk about
no,
books.
no,
They're
no.
new and they're sexy. So
Appreci-
let's talk about them.
Appreciate it, but we do have an actual
Okay.
theme this time.
Oh, sure.
That's what I'm
There you
talking
go.
about.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
so
a little better.
I kind of gave you a preview at the start of this episode what this segment's all about, but Eric orders all the young adult books. I order all
Yeah,
the
I do.
adult books.
Though sometimes Mr. Big Shot over here decides to take a step into my pond and see what it's like to get a few Star Trek books for the young adult crowd.
Maybe I did. If there's one thing I know,
Uh-huh.
teens love Star Trek. Just kidding.
That's right.
I feel like
I had
the
you get
one
that Gary Gygax book one time.
you did, and I did gladly for you. And usually, whenever you accidentally purchase something that is adult, I gradually
That's
I
true.
take it
There
from
are a
you
few books I ordered
with
from-
open arms.
Yeah.
Boy, I had something to say and now I lost it. It's gone.
Sorry.
You know, it was about Disney
I order
again.
all the.
It was
books.
about Disney again.
What?
Star Trek, I feel like is the one franchise that if Disney bought it, I would be like, finally, someone's going to do something with Star Trek.
You want to see Disney Star Trek?
Maybe.
Hmm.
Probably be less killing.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so we purchased so many books, and I read them, and I'm like, oh, I want to read this book. This sounds so good. And then, of course, we can't read every single book. So the purpose of the Sexy New Book Club is for us to be able to go through our collections, take a look at what we've got, explore it a little bit, and decide if it's going to be one that's going to go on our to-read shelves, which are pretty full. If I'm being honest with you.
Full.
If I'm being honest. Would you like me to go first?
Very full.
Would you?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay.
All right.
My first choice is The River by Peter Heller. And first of all, I got to tell you, for the folks at home, it's a great cover. It's a good cover. You've got a navy background. You've got a canoe. You've got some loose paddles. And then you've got lots of like nice deep red, I guess, movement lines, like watery lines running through it. They kind of overlap.
I see it as like
title.
Flowers.
You see it as flowers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought I'd share that. Whatever.
Okay.
Talk about Peter Heller.
I will talk about Peter Heller.
So I haven't heard of this.
Okay. From the best-selling author of The Dog Stars.
Dogs.
An artist, maybe? Like a dog artist?
Yeah.
A dog named Art?
Yeah.
From the best-selling author of A Dog Named Art. No, I'm just kidding. The Dog Stars, the story of two college friends on a wilderness canoe trip.
Oh.
A gripping novel of a friendship tested by fire, white water, and violence.
Is this just the dramatic retelling of Without a Paddle, starring Seth Green?
Yeah.
Dak Shepard?
Yeah.
And
I don't know if Dak
Matthew
Shepard
Lillard.
appreciates that secondary billing like that, but...
Well, he's not in the middle.
You don't think?
I think Seth Green was like front and center
Yeah,
of that trio.
at that time,
So,
Seth Green.
I don't think anybody in there was a big name star.
No.
I mean, Matthew Lillard was your trifecta there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Can we get Lillard? Yes.
part of me thinks Andy Dick was in it.
Ooh.
I saw the movie in theaters.
Yikes.
So
The only thing Andy Dick's ever been good in is
News
news
radio,
radio.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. Here is your synopsis, ladies and gentlemen.
No, Dude, Where's My Car? He's pretty funny in that too.
I've never seen it.
All right.
Synopsis for The River by Peter
Should
Heller.
we start a Dude, Where's My Car rewatch
Absolutely
podcast?
not. There's only one. Wynn and Jack have been best friends since freshman orientation, bonded by their shared love of mountains, books, and fishings. I would not be friends with these people.
How does that start?
I would not
You're
be.
just sitting there and people are like, all right, everybody, you're going to want to make sure you register for your classes early. Hey, I like mountains.
I'm going to continue this. Wynn is a gentle giant, a Vermont kid never happier than when his feet are in the water. Jack is more rugged. Raised on a ranch in Colorado where sleeping under the stars and cooking on a fire came as naturally to him as breathing. Boy, I would not be the Dak Shepard to these two guys. Let me tell you what.
These guys are rec majors.
Yes, they are. Woo! When they decide to canoe the Muska River in northern Canada, they anticipate long days of leisurely paddling and picking blueberries. Okay. And nights of stargazing and reading paperback westerns. I could do that. I could read a Louis L'Amour.
So they're just going to go
Is it going to
on
fill
a
up?
trip
They're going to
together.
fill up on. They're going to fill up on blueberries.
Yeah, that's a super
Lay under the stars with your best friend and read Louis L'Amour novels.
separately read Western novels.
Maybe a Zane Grey, but I don't
Do you think
recommend.
one of them is reading the book out loud, or they're both reading different Western novels?
I think separate.
Okay.
But a wildfire making its way across the forest adds unexpected urgency to the journey. When they hear a man and woman arguing on the fog-shrouded riverbank and decide to warn them about the fire, their search for the pair turns up nothing and no one.
Uh-oh.
But the next day, a man appears on the river, paddling alone. Is this the man they heard? And if he is, where's a woman? She's where the crawdads sing. From this charged beginning,
Rolling down
master
the river.
storyteller,
CCI.
Peter Heller unspools a headlong, heart-pounding tale of desperate wilderness survival.
So is this like a wilderness version of Rear Window?
Maybe. I got to tell you.
The Rear Canoe?
Maybe. I got to tell you, whatever synopsis I read when ordering this book was better than the synopsis I just read now, because
Right.
this sounds more like a commercial for like jeans
Yeah.
than a novel that I would want to read. There is a map at the
Dick's
beginning.
Sporting Good presents.
There is a map at the beginning, and there's a place called Blueberries Lake. So I guess that's why they're always picking the. Oh, there's
Blueberries plural lake?
Blueberries plural.
I guess I would
lake.
just call it Blueberry Lake.
I would too, but
Or I also would just call it a different name that would attract more people to come
I
to that
agree
lake.
with you. I agree with you. The river. All right, here's your prologue, ladies and gentlemen. I'm
Oh,
just
a
gonna
prologue.
Read,
A prologue?
You don't want me to read them?
Unless this prologue is them on registration day at college, I don't know what it's going to do.
Oh boy. Okay, chapter 1.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
See, this is what I mean, that I'm usually
know.
more positive than this grumpy Gus. Hey,
Okay.
Grumpy Bear.
All right. But I think objectively, this is a terrible first
Look,
line.
yes, neither one of us want to hang out with these two guys.
I know. I'm just saying. I think the first line of this
Oh.
is terrible.
All right, let's
okay?
try this out.
The two of them loved paddling in storm.
I feel like I want to turn into Marge Simpson, like,
Yeah. I don't. Okay. With the spray deck sealing the canoe, they felt safe as long as they did not broach sideways and they stuck out away from the shadows and sounds of shore.
Is this written in second person personal?
It feels
bird's eye view
like it
style?
was written in Japanese and then just like translated verbatim
By Siri.
The two of them loved paddling in storm. I don't. Okay.
Look,
Okay.
maybe that's actually maybe that's how it's supposed to be written.
That's lake talk. The compass heading was redundant as long as they kept the breaking waves on the port quarter. They could take heavy water, but a capsize away from land would kill them. So they were very careful to power through the white caps at an angle. They both paddled on their knees to keep the center of gravity low. It was exhausting, and it sure is. Then the wind died all at once as if throttled, and in less than half an hour the lake glassed off and they felt suspended in fog. They moved within a moving nimbus in which only a few yards of black water
nimbus?
were
Is that
visible
a
in
canoe?
any direction, and the pale fog drifted in tatters like stubborn smoke. The water whispered along the hull, and it had a silver sheen that reminded Wynne of rayon. All of it was dreamlike. He thought of a Poe novel. No, he didn't. He had read in which the castaways are pulled towards the South Pole, and the current they are riding gets warmer and calmer as they go.
Read more, whisper.
No.
Oh.
I will not read any more of this. Okay. To be fair,
Sometimes you dislike something so much at the very start.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to read it and then just love it.
you know what? I would love that. Because I think, look, the premise is not for me. This is not a story that I would gravitate towards.
But they're just two boot-wearing
I know,
bros
but that's
going
the
canoeing.
thing. Like just going out and like,
Yeah.
all right, hey, we're gonna go on a canoe ride. But these guys want you to know that they are bros.
You know what I like? I
They're
like being
bros.
unplugged
Yeah, I don't like it.
and in a canoe.
I don't like it. But it could just be personal preference.
Yeah.
I don't think that writing was strong.
Yeah.
I think it was awkward and I think it was choppy. Much like the river, Blueberries Lake. Not for me, but maybe for you.
Ooh, you know where I'd like
So-
to go? Booberries Lake.
The cereal?
A lake full of booberry cereal.
The problem with that is, though, it's seasonal. You can only go there in
Yeah,
October. And you
that's
don't want to
true.
go to the lake in October. That's insane.
Well, what if it's like in Southern California?
Well, then it would be fine.
Okay.
The River by Peter Heller, ladies and gentlemen. All right, what do you got?
So you're saying it's a hell or no?
If this was Family Feud, you'd see a red X over this right now.
Oh, nice. There are 6 books.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. So I'm circle.
That's not how Family Feud works, but it's fine.
Whose
Go ahead.
circle gets the square?
That's like tic-tac-toe. You would do that, or that you're talking about Hollywood Squares.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
All right. If this was Hollywood Squares,
Yeah. Then Paul Lynde would be in the bottom, being like, "I don't want to read that Peter Heller book." Boy, for the 3 people who get that, you're welcome. All right, go ahead.
congratulations. Yeah. All right. I got a book called Mike.
Mike, it sounds sorry. Go ahead.
Who is this guy again?
Paul Lynde from like Bewitched or
Oh, okay.
Bye Bye Birdie. You know?
Okay.
No. All right.
Mike. The book is Mike.
Sammy.
Mike is just a big, red, clear font. It just says Mike at the top.
Okay. Let me tell you my problem with this right from the start. It just looks like Michael Cera from Juno. And
All
it's
right.
called Mike.
So there's a character that goes. He's facing the other direction, so
Yeah.
you're only seeing him from the back, and he does kind of look like the back of Michael Cera from
Juno from the film Juno. Great film if you haven't
red,
seen it.
red tennis shorts, a yellow headband. Right next to him is a little baggie with a goldfish in it.
That's cute, but
and it's a blue background.
there's a ticking clock on that, guys. You got to get that fish out of that water.
That's true. But you also want to make sure that the water you put him in has some of the water he was just in.
And you don't want to have a big temperature change.
That's
well.
also true. Yeah. So Mike is by Andrew Norris. If you turn to it, look at this. He's in like a petticoat.
There he is, back
So,
again. Well,
yeah.
now he looks like Doctor Who.
Dang, this poor kid.
I know.
All right. Floyd is a teenage tennis prodigy.
Ooh.
Since he was
Does he want to go camping with some bros on Blueberries Lake?
Are they into tennis?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Since he was little, all he's ever known is the routine of training, of matches, of working hard to rise to the top. But something strange is happening. Floyd is being followed by a boy named Mike, a boy whom no one else can see. And Mike will go to all lengths to make himself heard. Floyd will discover that finding out what Mike wants will change the course of his entire life. A thought-provoking journey of self-discovery, Mike examines what it means to break free and find your own path, even if it means throwing away the plans of a lifetime.
He
So,
wants to break free.
I skipped ahead a little, spoiled the book for myself
He
and everything.
wants to break free.
And I think it's about him not wanting to be a tennis prodigy anymore. So
Okay.
Anyway, that might be a bit of a spoiler, but anyway, Chapter 1. Floyd bounced the ball on the ground 3 times, held it to his racket for a moment, and then threw it in the air in a move he had practiced at least 100 times a day for the last 8 years. His body lifted onto his toes, he swung the racket back up and slammed the ball toward the far side of the court. As he did so, a movement to his right caught his eye. It was only a momentary distraction, but it meant the ball was half an inch lower in the air when the racket struck it, and instead of skimming across over the top of the net, it grazed the canvas webbing and deflected fractionally upward before landing back into the court. Net! Called the umpire. First service. I assume that's a tennis thing.
I think it is.
Okay. Floyd took a second ball from the clip around his waist and glanced up to the spectators. What he saw didn't entirely surprise him. It was Mike, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He was walking along the top row of the tiered seating, his ankle-length black coat billowing behind him in the breeze, and then he turned and began moving down the steps. Spectators are not supposed to walk around in the stands while a game is in progress. Once a match has started, they stay in their seats and don't move because moving will distract the players. Bouncing the ball a few times, Floyd decided to wait. Presumably, Mike wanted to sit in one of the rows lower down, where he would be closer to the action. There was no point trying to continue a game until he was seated. Mike walked away. Mike walked all the way down the steps, but to Floyd's surprise, instead of finding himself a seat, he opened the gate in the barrier and surrounded the court and walked over the umpire's chair. "When you're ready, Mr. Beresford," called the umpire. Clearly, he hadn't noticed Mike, who was now standing a little behind him and beneath him. Floyd pointed with his racket. "You've got a visitor," he said. The umpire frowned. "Is something wrong, Mr. Beresford?" "Yes," said Floyd, still pointing at Mike. "Him." The umpire's frown deepened and he glanced down at Mike before looking back at Floyd. I don't quite understand." "Well, I can't play while he's on the court, can I?" Floyd wondered why the umpire was being so slow. "Could you ask him to leave, please?" So this is the beginning of Mike.
I wouldn't say that I don't find it super gripping. It feels a little young. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
this is a young
Well,
adult
I know it is, but it feels a little bit more like on a J level, don't you think?
I don't know. I guess it depends on what happens.
Yeah.
Like if he's ever like, "Mike, you son of a B,
Yeah.
I'm gonna you in the
Whoa.
face if you don't get out of my
Wow.
court."
Wow.
So
Wow.
then it's a young adult book.
Wow. When Disney buys this podcast, you're not even going to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So anyway,
So are you in?
am I in? I don't know.
Do you like Mike?
I like quirky books.
Yeah.
Kind of like this I tend to like quirkier books, quirkier like character study books rather than like big YA fantasies that last for 800 pages or whatnot. But I don't know. Maybe.
I think, whereas I was instantly turned off by The River, this one didn't grab me, but I also didn't make me want to grab it and throw it.
I guess I thought maybe this invisible character bugging his life would have already been established.
Right.
But I guess not.
I mean,
it's
like
not
kind of a drop-dead Fred situation.
Sure, yeah. Is that the Whoopi Goldberg movie?
Is it? No, I don't think Whoopi Goldberg's in that.
Are you sure?
No.
Oh, that's Winona Ryder.
Yes.
Okay. 229. That's how many pages are here.
Yeah.
So.
Could pound that out. I don't know. Not for me.
Okay.
Not for Nick.
Hey,
All
what
right.
a surprise.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I mean, given the two, I would read Mike long before I would read that. Okay, the next one, it's tiny. I like it. It's small. It's a small hardcover. It's by Michael Imperioli, who is an actor who you probably like Safe Money would be to say The Sopranos, because that's like his claim to fame. I have liked him in all of his failed shows, including the American version of Life on Mars, Detroit 187, and most recently Alex Inc., which is based on the Startup podcast, which I'm a fan of.
Oh.
So Michael Imperioli, it's called The Perfume Burned His Eyes, and it has a cover blurb from friend of the library, Joyce Carol Oates, where she says it is vividly imagined. And if anybody knows vivid imagination, it's Joyce Carol Oates. She says, vividly imagined, compelling, and sympathetic. The perfume burned his eyes, convinces with the force of its emotional intensity.
Ooh.
If anyone knows emotional intensity,
It's Joyce Carol Oates?
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Matthew's a 16-year-old living
Wait,
in...
you got to describe the cover. It
Well,
looks like a...
You've got a teenage kid. Looks like
Yeah.
he's at a beach. Looks like perfume has just burned his eyes.
Yeah, I got to be honest. This kind of reminds me of
Black and white picture.
some black and white Italian foreign films from the 60s that I've watched.
You're absolutely right. I see
So,
what you mean.
yeah.
Even just the font and everything looks like, yep. Matthew's a 16-year-old living in Jackson Heights, Queens in 1976.
What was the author again?
Michael Imperioli.
Is he Italian?
I think probably.
I
Sounds
wonder
like
if that's like... All right, go on.
it. Yeah, well, they say often like debut novels are pretty autobiographical, but after he loses his two most important male role models, his father and grandfather, his mother uses her inheritance to uproot Matthew and herself to a posh apartment building in Manhattan. Although only 3 miles away from his boyhood home, the city is a completely new and strange world to Matthew. Matthew soon befriends and becomes a factotum of sorts. A factotum? Factotum.
A factotum.
Okay. Of sorts to Lou Reed, who lives with his transgender girlfriend Rachel in the same building. The artistic shamanic rocker eventually becomes an unorthodox father figure to Matthew, who finds himself head over heels for the mysterious Veronica, a wise beyond her years girl he meets at his new school. Written from the point of view of Matthew at age 18, 2 years after the story begins, the novel concludes with an epilogue in the year 2013, 3 days after Lou Reed's death, with Matthew in his 50s.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it. I think it sounds fun. I like a good coming-of-age story. 1. On this, the 24th of July in the year 1977, in the borough of Manhattan of the state of New York, being of sound mind and body, This was originally meant to be a last will and testament type of thing. Maybe it still will be at some point. I don't know. Right now, I just want to get as much as I can down on paper. I have been praised for this effort and told that it may bring me some clarity. I was not aware I lacked clarity or that the events described here were unclear, but that's what I've been told by people who are supposed to know about such things. I've also been informed that this is a very difficult time in one's life, and it's not uncommon for folks my age to find themselves in similar situations. This brings me no comfort, and I feel it is important for me to state that for the record, even if the record is a shitty little 99-cent notebook.
Well, there goes our explicit rating.
It snuck
Thanks,
up on me.
Nick.
It snuck up on me. With this in mind, I would like to start at the most logical beginning. Although to be technical, dear sirs or madams, my birth would be the most formal or official beginning, and even further we would trace things back to my parents, how they met, their courtship and marriage, my conception, but I will spare you all those gory details and jump to the years when stuff started to happen and people died, and life as I knew it altered itself beyond recognition. My parents split up a few days after the new year began, so my dad hit the road in his brown 72 Chrysler Newport. He had 3 garbage bags of clothes in the trunk and not much else.
What year was that car?
72 Chrysler Newport. I would never see him again. In June, the day after I finished my sophomore year of high school, we found out he was dead. Legend has it that he checked out of an LA freeway pileup that may or may not have been his fault. The facts of the terrible accident were never completely explained to me, but in my gut, I know it was him. He was a reckless man who always let his emotions get the best of him and denied himself nothing, driving at speeds over 110 miles an hour, chasing down someone who dared to cut him off. I don't know. I'm liking it.
All right.
Are you liking it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, not doing much for you? I don't know. I think it sounds cool.
Yeah.
It's, let's see, 253 pages.
Oh.
It's a compact little number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll read this.
Nice.
I think I
Look
can
at
power
that.
through this quickly.
Yeah.
I like it. It looks good.
All right. There you go.
I really like this size.
Yeah.
It's doing a lot for me. I'm not going
X
to sit here and lie to you. But
Gets the square.
okay. What's next for you, my
Because I'm
friend?
circle.
Hey, if you want to know, I stopped abruptly because there kept being swearing.
Hey, don't get mad. It's not my fault, man.
No, I'm just saying.
It's not my fault.
That's what happened.
I brought Dear Evan Hansen.
Interesting.
So there you go. This is Dear Evan Hansen, the novel, by Val Emmerich with Steve Levinson, Ben Pasek, and Justin Paul, creators of the hit show. I also just listened to the soundtrack today for the first time.
Thoughts?
It's fine.
I know nothing about this except for I heard one of the numbers at the Macy's Day Parade maybe 2 years ago.
Waving through a window?
I can't remember.
Okay. No, the music's good. There's it's
You have a little tell where your voice goes high when you're...
There's not a lot of like big, exciting numbers because it's a lot
Well,
more thoughtful.
I think that's kind of a modern Broadway thing,
and
too.
emotional. There's some songs in there I like. There's Waving Through a Window. There's a lot of good stuff in the songs, but I guess like if you were just going to turn on the Dear Evan Hansen soundtrack, it's not the same thing as like, listening to, I don't know, anything else.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, anything else.
It's not the same thing as putting on Hamilton. You're like, oh, I love this song. Like with Dear Evan Hansen, it's just going to be like, it's like listening to like a indie pop album, I guess.
I think they would probably say thank you.
You're welcome. Dear Evan Hansen, today is going to be an amazing day, and here's why. And the cover is just the blue tree. It's the same cover as the show and everything.
Very dismissive.
We have the book, we have the audiobook, and we just ordered the soundtrack as well. So, but it's sold out. It's Shays. Is this supposed to be near in Buffalo? And
yeah. Coming pretty
May
soon.
or something?
Pretty soon.
When a letter that was never meant to be seen draws high school senior Evan Hansen into a family's grief over the loss of their son, Evan is given the chance of a lifetime to belong. He just has to pretend that his notoriously troubled Connor Murphy was his secret best friend. Suddenly, Evan isn't invisible anymore, and even to the girl of his dreams. And Connor Murphy's parents have taken him in like he's their own, desperate to know more about their anonymous sums from his closest friend. As Evan gets pulled deeper into the family's swirl of anger, regret, and confusion, he knows that what he's got to do can't be right, but if he's helping people, how wrong can it be? No longer incapacitated by anxiety or hiding from the disappointment in his mother's eyes, this new Evan has a purpose and confidence. Every day is amazing, until everything is in danger of unraveling and he comes face to face with his greatest obstacle, himself.
Oh.
A simple lie leads to complicated truths in the big-hearted story of grief, authenticity, and the struggle to belong in an age of instant connectivity and profound isolation. At the end of that, it sounded like I was reading a very sad letter to somebody. What was I going to say? There's a song. The mom seems like a very important character.
Okay.
Because they talked about the disappointing mother. But when you listen to the music, there's some really sad songs in there, like about the dad leaving and how like excited Evan was as a little kid to see like a truck. But then the truck left with his dad, and then he asked if another truck was going to come by and take his mom away. There's some very like sad songs in there. But yeah, there's a great song called "Sincerely Me" or "Sincerely From Me" or something where Evan and his friend are like coming up with the letters that they were like writing. And that's pretty funny. So anyway, chapter 1, Dear Evan Hansen. That's how all my letters begin. First, the dear part, because that's what you write at the top of any letter. That's standard. Next comes the name of the person you're writing to. In this case, it's me. I'm writing to myself. So yeah, Evan Hansen. Evan is actually my middle name. My mom wanted me to be Evan, and my dad wanted me to be Mark, which is his name. My dad won the battle, according to my birth certificate, but my mom won the war. She has never called me anything other than Evan. As a result, neither has my dad. Spoiler alert, my parents are no longer together. I'm only Mark on my driver's license, which I never use, or when I'm filling out for job applications, or when it's the first day at school, like today. My new teachers will call out Mark during attendance, and I will have to ask each one to please call me by my middle name. Naturally, this will have to be done when everyone else has vacated the room. There are a million and 10 things from the subatomic to the cosmic that can rattle my nerves on a daily basis. And one of those things is my initial, M-E-H, like the word meh. Meh is basically a shoulder shrug, and that pretty much sums up the reaction I get from a society at large, as opposed to the surprise of, oh, or the wow of, ah, or the hesitation of, ah, or the confusion of, huh. Meh is pure indifference. Take it or leave it. Doesn't matter. No one cares. Mark Evan Hansen? Meh. But I'd rather think of myself as, which is more like seeking approval, waiting for confirmation. Like, how about that Evan Hansen, eh?
I like it.
Okay. It's interesting because, I mean, it's a novelization of a musical.
Right.
So I imagine a lot of what maybe makes the musical so good is the music.
Yeah.
And then you take that out. It's not just, taking a stage play. Like, it's taking the musical.
Yeah.
So...
so I guess it's a novelization.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about novelizations.
You like novelizations,
I love them.
It's a pretty thick book, too. So they put some time in it. What's interesting to me is there isn't, during the chapter breaks, there's no, like, play this song, like listen to the soundtrack, add this in or anything.
Right.
I guess I would have gone with that.
Yeah.
Or even have just put, like, the lyrics, like, every chapter break had the lyrics of the song.
Yeah, because that's not too uncommon to have like almost like poetry breaks.
Yeah,
and things.
So
I'm trying to think of other like musical novelizations.
Did Moulin Rouge or Chicago get a book?
I know there's one for Bye Bye Birdie.
Right,
there's a novelization, but I don't think that's very common.
Doesn't seem common for like anything since 2000.
Yeah, I'd probably just because there's not a lot of like YA musicals.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
But I'm always up for a good novelization. You have but to revisit episode 136, all the books, the novelization, to learn of my love for them. But I think it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll pick up some readers.
I think what would stop me from reading this is I'm just going to be like, well, I'll just go see the musical.
Yeah.
Whenever if I can.
I think that's probably more for like fans, like people who love the music but are never going to get a chance to see.
Yes.
Or
people like you who liked Dark Knight Rises
and
then wanted to read the novelization of The Dark Knight Rises.
That's the thing I did, and I don't apologize.
Do you think people are going to read Dear Evan Hansen? It's like, oh, I can't believe they included the Joker.
And then go and rewatch The Dark Knight Rises? No, I don't think it's...
No, I don't. Okay,
I don't think
go
it's
ahead.
applicable. For my final book, I have chosen an author that I have a love-hate relationship with, and that is Dave Eggers. Dave Eggers, everyone. And the title is The Parade. So
love him, hate him, can't ever leave him.
I read the book, The Circle, and we did that for a book club here.
Right.
Watched the film with Tom Hanks. Both were bad.
And Emma Watson?
Emma Watson, yeah.
Oh, that's
Both were
the
bad.
social network Google thing,
Yeah,
right?
basically, it's like if the movie had been made in like 2004 even,
Okay.
you'd be like, whoa, that could actually happen. But
Yeah.
now it's like, yeah, we're living in that society.
Yeah.
This is not a cautionary tale. This is a documentary. So it didn't work.
All right.
I haven't read the book Hologram for the King, but the movie I loved. I thought it was great. Also starring Tom Hanks, weirdly enough. So
Yeah. Well,
This-
isn't there another Dave Eggers movie that has Tom Hanks in it?
is there?
I thought there was one. Yeah.
I don't know.
All
You
right.
can look it up while I read. From the best-selling author of The Circle, The Monk of Mocha, which I do want to read The Monk of Mocha. And what is it? What is the what? Comes a taut, suspenseful
No,
story
it's not.
of two visitors' roles in a nation's fragile peace. An unnamed country is leaving the darkness of decades at war, and to commemorate the armistice, the government commissions a new road connecting the two halves of the state. Two men, foreign contractors, are set to finish the highway. While one is flighty and incautious, the other, nicknamed the Clock, wants only to do the work and go home. In this timeless parable, both men must eventually face the absurdities of their position and the dire consequences of their presence.
I don't know anything about David Eggers. Does that sound like a Dave Eggers plot?
I mean, I think yeah,
Okay.
I think that plays.
All right.
Chapter 1. In the morning's platinum light, as he raised his leaden head, he was lying on a plastic mattress in a converted shipping container, below a tiny fan that circulated the room's tepid air. He washed himself with packaged towelettes and put on his uniform, a black jumpsuit of synthetic fiber. Under a quickly rising sun, he walked across the hotel's gravel courtyard to his partner's room. They had never met. He knocked on the corrugated steel door. There was no answer. He knocked louder. After some shuffling from within, a lithesome man answered, naked but for a pair of white boxers. He had dark eyes, a cleft chin, and a wide mouth ringed with full, womanly lips. A swirl of black hair rakishly obscured his left eye. Pick a number. 9.
Me? Oh.
No, the man said at the door, smiling shyly. Okay. You know the company handles names. I don't know yours. You don't know mine. For the next 2 weeks, you're 9. Call me 4. You're 4? You will call me 4. I'll call you 9. Got it? For reasons of security, the company insisted on simple pseudonyms, usually numerical. Got it, 9 said, and swept his hair from his face and threw it back.
Okay.
Are you interested? Got any buy-in?
Not necessarily.
So
I
they're
guess,
just...
Yeah.
So I guess this is just going to be like a... I think this is like a political parable.
Oh, all right.
And I got that, my brilliant deduction from reading the synopsis where it said parable and government. But, you know, I think it's something that certainly could be interesting. He has very devoted fans, and it sounds like he's very good at, from what I've experienced of his work, he's very good at providing like an immersive atmosphere, which is what something like this would need to thrive. So I don't know if this is one that I would pick up and read. Politics are upsetting me and making me tired at the moment, so I don't think I would read this, but it sounds interesting, and I have confidence that Eggers would do a good job with that.
All right.
So all these are in the new book section. You got one more? Did you do?
Yeah, I got one more.
Okay, do it. Take us home.
On the Come Up by Angie Thomas.
Oh.
It's another big one. Boy, how many pages is this one? 440 pages. Anyways, this is her. This is Angie Thomas' second book, author of The Hate You Give. So this is her newest one. Let's see what it's about. Let's read the synopsis. The cover.
Do it.
All black background with kind of like white chalk in bold. And then you got the girl raising her fist up. That usually means she wants you to rock or she wants you to
Roll.
Rise up.
Oh,
okay. 16-year-old Bree wants to be one of the greatest rappers of all time, or at least with her first battle, or win her first battle. As the daughter of an underground hip-hop legend who died right before he hit it big, Bree's got massive shoes to fill. But it's hard to get your come up when you're labeled a hoodlum at school and your fridge at home is empty after your mom loses her job. So Bree pours her anger and frustration into her first song, which goes viral for all the wrong reasons. Uh-oh. That uh-oh was mine. That wasn't part of the song.
you added the uh-oh.
Yeah. I thought it kind
The
of came out
uh-oh would have
naturally.
been in
Yeah.
like brackets or something, just to let you know. ... Emphasis
Uh-oh.
added.
Bree soon finds herself at the center of controversy, portrayed by the media as a mere menace than MC. But with eviction notice staring her family down, Bree doesn't want to make it. She has to, even if it means becoming the very thing the public has made her out to be. Insightful, unflinching, and full of heart, On the Come Up is an ode to hip-hop from one of the most influential literary voices of a generation. It is the story of fighting for your dreams, even as the odds are stacked against you, and how, especially for young black people, freedom of speech isn't always free. Back to Disney. Disney, their buyout of Fox was official last week. They already closed down Fox 2000, which is the company that made young adult movies like Love, Simon, Fault in Our Stars, and The Hate U Give.
Great.
So, and they said they weren't going to do that, but they did it anyway.
Huh.
They said when we buy Fox, we're not going to close down things, so they did, and like 4,000 people lost their jobs.
Wow.
So that's the. But you know what? Now the Thing can show up in the Avengers with Storm.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, it all makes sense.
There you go, Internet.
All worth it.
I might have to kill somebody tonight. It could be. Sorry, I'm starting to read the book now. This is chapter 1. I might have to kill somebody tonight. It could be somebody I know.
I did think that was you just saying that.
It could be somebody I know. It could be a stranger. It could be somebody who's never battled before. It could be somebody who's a pro at it. It doesn't matter how many punchlines or spit. It doesn't matter how many punchlines they spit or how nice their flow is. I'll have to kill them. First, I got to get the call. To get the call, I got to get the hell out of Mrs. Murray's class. See, I can say that, and we can still keep our clean rating.
Yeah.
What you did.
It snuck up on me.
Some multiple choice questions take up most of my laptop, but the clock, though. The clock is everything. According to it, there are 10 minutes until 4:30, and according to Aunt Pooh, who knows somebody who knows somebody, DJ Hype calls between 4:30 and 5:30. I swear if I miss him, I... ... Won't do stuff... because Mrs. Murray's has my phone, and Mrs. Murray's not one to play with. I only see the top of her sister locks. The rest of her is hidden behind the Nikki Giovanni book. Occasionally, she goes, as some line, the same way my grandma does during a sermon. Poetry's Miss Murray's religion. So I'll tell you one thing. The first chapter of The Hate U Give did not click with me at all. And then the book changes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But this is doing a much better job at getting me into it. So there you go. We're running out of time.
Okay.
So I just want to put this book up here.
All right. Nikki Giovanni's a poet, everyone. So you can read some of that for next month, which is Poetry Month. All right. So which did you like here?
Well, I added Dear Evan Hansen to my to-read list.
You did?
Yeah.
You can read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I listened to the soundtrack. So
yeah.
No,
why not?
Yeah.
You're already there. But I thought you were the one who was like, I'll just go see the show.
I will, but I don't know how. It's sold out everywhere.
That's what I'm saying.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, my gosh. This book is for me.
I know. You stated a premise and then disproved it. And you had the boldness to do that. So hats off to you, good
You guys
sir.
just saw my inconsistency and hypocrisy
and
all at once.
And his hippopotamus, folks. Come on, come on out here, Brambles.
Yep. Brambles, Hippocratic, not Hippocratic. What am I trying to say?
Hippocampus?
No, he's hypocritical.
Oh.
Brambles, my hypocritical. Brambles, my hypocritical hippopotamus.
Wow.
Wow.
If you're curious, there is blood running out of Eric's ears right now. All right.
Yeah, I look like a psychic in a movie.
All right, so
blood out my nose.
These and many more new books are available for you here at the David A. Howe Public Library. You can request them from any library within our system, or just go to a library somewhere. It doesn't have to be this one. It should be this one.
Don't bully
people. But you can
people.
go anywhere that you want. Okay?
He didn't mean to sound like a bully. You guys, you should go to a library.
Whoa, pusher. Okay.
You're like, you should. You better.
You're right. All right.
Coach is gonna ream you if you don't go to a library.
That's gonna do it for this week. Is there library news you want to mention?
What's today? The 26th?
Sure is.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, it's too late to come to our sci-fi book club for Isaac Asimov's The Caves of Steel, but you still time to pick up the next book, which is Nick Said Artemis by Andy Weir, and then we'll meet next month for that.
With pizza.
Yeah. We're showing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse April 5th.
Academy Award-winning
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse at 3:30 p.m. I just rewatched it last Wednesday. Still great. Maybe the best Spider-Man movie.
Ooh.
And then Teen Nights every Wednesday. Our teen photo show submissions start in about 2 weeks. So if you're a teen or you know a teen who has photos and they want to submit it to the photo show, get ready. Get framing.
Let's get it
started.
You got to
frame. Oh, that should have been the tagline. The 9th annual teen photo show. Get framing.
Well, you can say that because next year's the 10th.
Next year's the 10th.
So that's a big number.
So, yeah,
that's
this is the 9th annual. So that's a pretty good one. And then, no, that's it.
All right. The other book club, Endless Winter, is going to conclude this session focusing on Liam Moriarty with Big Little Lies. So you can discuss that with us. You pick up a copy here in the library. And then we're going to meet actually over at the Duke House right here on Main Street in Wellsville on April 11th, I believe, to discuss that there and have some delicious Duke House food and drink. So hope you can join us for that. That book club's going to take a pause for a while. We have a couple scheduled coming up, including an Around the World book club where we're going to focus on authors from Mexico. So we're looking forward to that. Got that all stacked up, and the Sci-Fi Book Club is going to continue as well. Next week, we are going to be talking about the one and only Shazam. With some special guest stars, so I hope you'll tune in for that. It's an interesting history of this character. So I think that's going to do it.
Yes.
All right. On behalf of ourselves and Mickey Mouse, we'll see you next week.
Not really on behalf of Mickey Mouse. They'll sue us into the ground.
Not yet.
They'll sue us so deep into the ground our ghosts can't find us.
Ooh.
All right, that podcast has stopped. You can say hi and bye to the Twitch people.
Okay. Are any of them? Do you think any of them are like Mickey Mouse spies?
You think? Yeah. If you guys are Mickey Mouse police, you have to tell us.
That's the law. It's the law of Mouse.
So, yeah, the law of Mouse.
So shall it be.
Mouse has killed Mouse. So,
yeah.
Dark times.
Do you want to talk about video games?
I'm playing The Last of Us.
Oh, yeah, I want to play that.
That's a Naughty Dog game.
Yeah.
You have a PS4, so you could play the remastered version.
Yeah.
So that's probably cool. I'm playing it on the PS3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
It's stealth.
Ooh.
It's more of a stealth game than I thought it was.
I like that.
Fun fact about me, I'm not good at stealth
Not
games.
good at stealth. I have been playing the original Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
and I
that's
learned
stealth,
that the voice actor, Nolan North, also voices... thanks, buddy.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
Yeah, but he also does Nathan Drake from Uncharted.
Yeah,
so that's fun.
He's one of those they just got Nolan North.
Yeah.
Those kind of actors.
Eric and I played a bunch of Injustice 2 together.
Yeah, I got beat up a lot.
You did.
I did surprisingly well with Sub-Zero
Sure
from
did.
Mortal Kombat.
Sure did.
But everyone else in that game, I just got my butt
not
handed
everyone.
to me.
You beat me with people.
All right.
And then we played Overcooked.
Yeah.
Always a good time.
Overcooked is like if they took one Mario Party mini game
Yeah.
and turned it into a full
Whole
title.
game. Whole
Yeah.
game. Yep.
So,
Yep.
I think Last of Us is gruesome.
Ugh.
But they do it in a way that you're not supposed to be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Every time something violent happens, like, oh, I don't want to live in this world.
Yeah.
So the story's good, but yeah, the action's okay. But I'm just bad at stealth. They're like, go slowly here so they don't see you. I'm like, okay, here I go. And then everybody hears me, and I'm just like shooting around with a shotgun. I'm like, I'm sorry. I try to be stealthy.
That sounds fun.
So.
Where can people watch you play this?
I'm Dusk versus Tweak at Twitch.
All right.
So you can find me there.
Nice. You don't have to come to my house to watch me play. And
yeah.
that's not an invite.
Yeah, that's...
So.
He didn't mean that. What are you playing then?
What am I playing? Well, mostly Uncharted, the classic Uncharted, and the Tomb Raider reboot.
Uncharted? You beat all that.
No, I'm sorry. Assassin's Creed.
Oh, okay.
Confused me because they have the same voice actor. That's what we were talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Okay.
Let's get out of here.
See you next time, folks. We're going to talk about Shazam. It's going to be exciting.
Shazam!